Welcome back to the From the Bottom FS channel, man. Today we have Jordan Peterson back on the channel. It's been a while, along with Michael Dyson, and they're talking about white privilege. So let's go ahead and get into it. Come on.
The great American philosopher Beyonce Knowles said that it has been said that racism is so American that if you challenge racism, you look like you're challenging America. We are challenging inequality. We are challenging the refusal to see me as an individual. When we overcome that, have at it, we're all on equal plane.
Now, I have kind of seen that happen before, especially with the Colin Kaepernick situation, where he verbally stated why he was taking the knee, verbally stated where he got the idea of taking the knee from. And it was from, I believe, a ex-military or a retired military soldier, because previously he was just sitting down. And people thought that was disrespectful. So he reached out, got, I guess, advice to take a knee, just to show respect to, you know, the soldiers or whatever. But he made clear kind of like why he was doing it, right? He got tired of seeing, you know, police brutality against blacks, and he verbally stated that several times, but people still were offended, even after the man literally tells you why he's doing it. And we've seen that before. So when he says, when we take a stand against racism, some people get offended and think we're taking a stand against, you know, America. I mean, we've witnessed that in real time. Let me know what you guys think down below. Let's keep it going.
When we overcome that, have at it, we're all on equal plane.
I think it's good. I think it's good.
The pot is getting stirred here.
So I've got a couple of questions.
So let's your side spoke, so I'm going to go to Jordan, then to you,
Let's
Michelle.
assume for a moment that I've benefited from my white privilege. Okay, so let's assume that. That's fine. That's what you would say. So, so let's say, here, let's get precise about this, okay?
Yeah.
Was that very individual of you?
Let's get precise about this.
Come on.
Okay.
Let's get precise.
To what degree is my present level of attainment or achievement a consequence of my white privilege? And I don't mean sort of. I mean, do you mean 5%? Do you mean 15%? Do you mean 25%? Do you mean 75%?
He wants an exact number.
What do you propose I do about it? How about a tax? How about a tax that's like specialized for me so that I can account for my damn privilege, so that I can stop hearing about it? Now, let's get precise about one other thing, okay? We'll get precise about one other thing. Now,
Precise.
Yeah.
I like the kind of argument there, man, from Peterson. He's kind of like, okay, if white privilege does exist, what can I do about it individually? Am I going to get taxed out from my salary? Am I going to get less opportunities if I apply for jobs? What specifically can I do to pay back, and kind of level out this white privilege that you say that I have? That's a good argument, because you really can't put a specific number on it. It's just like an ambiance people talk about. You know what I mean? Let's get back into it.
Okay, we'll get precise about one other thing. Now,
Precise.
Yeah, precise. Yes. And so, if we can agree, and we haven't, that the left can go too far, which it clearly can, then how would my worthy opponents precisely define when the left that they stand for has gone too far? You didn't like equity, equality of outcome. I think that's a great marker. But if you have a better suggestion and won't sidestep the question, so let's figure out how I can dispense with my white privilege, and so that you can tell me when the left has gone too far, since they clearly can. And that's what this debate is about political correctness. It's about the left going too far. And I think it's gone too far in many ways. And I'd like to figure out exactly how and when, so the reasonable left could make its ascendance again and we could quit all this nonsense.
Okay, Michelle, go ahead.
I like that. I like that.
Do you mind if I?
So he's kind of like saying, all right, we see the left going too far, right? But what are we going to do about it to solve these problems? Instead of just sitting up here talking about it, what can we actually do physically or financially to resolve these issues that we're talking about? And that's the kind of conversation you kind of have to get stuff done, man. All this bickering back and forth. If you're new to the channel, you already know all this bickering back and forth, man. Trying to gun each other on the wittiness. It's like it's cool. You get a lot of likes, you get a lot of views, but at the end of the day, you're not resolving nothing, bro. You know what I mean? You go viral for a couple minutes and then that's about it. But nothing, people are still struggling. People still you know, just out here not doing well for themselves, man. But I like it. This is a good conversation. Let's go.
And I think it's gone too far in many ways, and I'd like to figure out exactly how and when, so the reasonable left could make its ascendance again, and we could quit all this nonsense.
Okay, Michelle, go ahead.
Do you mind if I answer,
Peterson's
Stephen?
on
I will
point.
answer you, but I just want to answer Stephen Fife first, because you talked about, this is how we got Trump, and this is the failure of the left. And so I'm a journalist. I went to a ton of Trump rallies during the campaign in different parts of the country, and you're right. Everywhere I went, I heard complaints about political correctness, far more than I heard complaints about, say, NAFTA. But when you asked people what they meant by political correctness, they called a woman they worked with girl, and she got mad at them. And, they could, you couldn't in public wonder aloud whether the president of the United States was really a Muslim. They didn't like that they couldn't make gay jokes anymore. And so on the one hand, you're right, and I've written about this. I think that when you try to, that when people have these prejudices and you try to suppress them, it can create a kind of dangerous counter-reaction. But I also think that, what they were reacting to, again, to go back to the title of this debate, what they called political correctness, the fact that they had to have this urbane black president who they felt talked down to them, which is really what they meant. I don't see a way around that, because that is, like I said, that's progress. So to go to the question of when the left goes too far, I mean, to me, it's pretty easy. Violence and censorship, right? I'm against violence, and I'm against censorship. But I also, looking around the world right now, when the idea that there is this, I understand, again, that there is like a problem of kind of left-wing annoyance, right? There's a lot of things that kind of random people on the internet in particular are able to swarm individuals and turn kind of stray remarks into social media campaigns, and this is often conflated with political correctness, and it's a bad phenomenon. I wish there was a way to put an end to it. I don't think there is no way to put an end to it simply by having kind of reasonable liberals or reasonable socialists denounce it, because it's just a kind of awful phenomenon of modern life. And if you want to have a debate about whether social media is terrible for democracy, I will be on the yay side. But right now, where I really disagree, there's a couple places I really disagree.
Pick one, and then I'm going to go to Michael.
But the idea that the radical left poses a greater threat than the radical right, when you see actual fascism ascendant all over the world, strikes me as something that you can literally only believe if you spend your life on college campuses.
Mm-hmm. So, Mike, I want to come to you on those, great, Michelle, on Jordan's point about how does he, in a sense, get an equal voice in this debate back if it is implied that his participation brings with it this baggage of white privilege that doesn't allow him to see clearly the issues that are before us.
But that is to be complicit in the very problem itself, terminologically. You're beginning at a point that's already productive and controversial. You're saying, how can he get his equality back? Who are you talking about? Jordan Peterson, trending #1 on Twitter? Jordan Peterson, with an international bestseller? I want him to tweet something out about me in my book. Jordan Peterson, right? This is what I'm saying to you. Why the rage, bruh? You're doing well, but you're a mean, mad white man, and you're going to get us right. And
he's not, though. He's not, though.
I have never seen so much wine and snowflaking. There's enough wine in here to start a vineyard. And what I'm saying to you empirically and precisely, when you ask the question about white privilege, the fact that you ask it in the way you did, dismissive, pseudoscientific, non-empirical, and without justification, the truth is that white privilege doesn't act according to quantifiable segments. It's about the degree to which we are willing.
Yo, whenever he speaks, man, you literally gotta open up a dictionary, bro, and take it back to school, because he be saying some big words, and a lot of times you can get lost in that and just think he's saying something that's correct. But but do your own research, man. Look at these words he's talking about, right? So and if it makes sense, it makes sense. If it don't, it don't. But Michael Dyson, man, I've known about him for a while. I've always respected him. He's always come off as a learning, well-rounded, level-headed man. And so seeing him kind of debate Jordan Peterson right here is awesome for me, man. It's kind of dope. Let's go.
And without justification, the truth is that white privilege doesn't act according to quantifiable segments. It's about the degree to which we are willing as a society to grapple with the ideals of freedom, justice, and equality upon which it's based. Number two, what's interesting to me, you're talking about not having a collective identity. What do you call a nation? Are you Canadian? Are you Canadian by yourself? Are you an individual, or are you part of a group? When America formed its union, it did so in opposition to another group. So the reality is that those who are part of group identities in politics deny the legitimacy and validity of those groups and the fact that they have been created thusly, and then have resentment against others. All I'm asking for is the opportunity. The quotation you talk about, the difference between equality of outcome and equality of opportunity, that's a staid and retried argument, hackneyed phrase derived from the halcyon days of the debate over affirmative action. Are you looking for outcomes that can be determined equally, or are you looking for opportunity? If you free a person after a whole long time of oppression and say now you are free to survive, if you have no skills, if you have no quantifiable means of existence, what you have done is liberated them into oppression. And all I'm suggesting to you, Lyndon Baines Johnson, one of our great presidents, said, if you start a man in a race 100 years behind, it is awfully difficult to catch up. So I don't think Jordan Peterson is suffering from anything except an exaggerated sense of entitlement and resentment, and his own privilege is invisible to him, and it's manifest with lethal intensity and ferocity right here on stage.
Jordan, I'm going to have to let you respond to that if you
ooh wee. I don't necessarily agree, man. The only time I've seen Jordan Peterson mad from all the video clips that I've seen myself. Now, if you guys know anyone different, then let me know. He only gets upset when people try to frame questioning incorrectly to try to trap him in a situation where he has to answer it a certain way, which will get him canceled. So it's like, that's the only time I've seen him actually get mad about something. So him to say he's out here, he's enraged. The times I've seen him, man, speaking to young men and young boys, man, he's very logical. He's very calm and collective. He even has a board sometimes to write stuff out so you guys can take notes. I don't know, you know. Let's see what Peterson has to say. Let's go. It sounded good.
I have to let you respond to that if you
It did. It sounded good, but I don't agree with that. Let's keep it going.
Well, what I derive from that series of rebuttals, let's say, is twofold. The first is that saying that the radical left goes too far when they engage in violence is not a sufficient response by any stretch of the imagination, because there are sets of ideas in radical leftist thinking that led to the catastrophes of the 20th century, and that was at the level of idea, not at the level of violent action. It's a very straightforward thing to say you're against violence. It's like being against poverty. It's like, you know, generically speaking, decent people are against poverty and violence. It doesn't address the issue in the least.
Right.
And with regards to my privilege or lack thereof, I mean, I'm not making the case that I haven't had advantages in my life and disadvantages in my life like most people. You don't know anything about my background or where I came from. It doesn't matter to you because fundamentally I'm a mean white man. That's a hell of a thing to say in a debate.
Let me just say,
Very, very brief, because I want to move on to men and women. A good topic next.
The mean mad white comment was not predicated upon my historical excavation of your past. It's based upon the evident vitriol with which you speak and the denial of a sense of equanimity among combatants in an argument. So I'm saying again, you're a mean mad white man, and the viciousness is evident.
Okay.
He doubled down on that too.
Okay.
He doubled down on that.
Okay. Let's reset.
All right, cool. So that was Jordan Peterson versus Michael Dyson on white privilege. Very interesting topic, man. And we actually have two people who can actually speak on that very well. On this one, I mean, Michael Dyson, he had some good. So he sounded good, right? But I think at the end of the day, man, I think Jordan Peterson got him on this one. Basically, in the very intro, he was kind of like, all right, what specific thing can I do, or what kind of tax can you tax me to level the playing field if this white privilege idea exists? And personally, I think it does exist to a certain extent based on, you know, back in the day, folks trying to buy homes. And if you lived in a certain area, if you were a certain color, banks would deny you loans for home ownership. And that's one of the main ways a family can gain value in their lifetime, owning a home, you know, owning an asset. And that kind of, that's just one example, but and there's a few more. But white privilege, I think it does exist, but only to a certain extent. I'll say that at the end of the day, bro. Right now we're sitting in 2023, and there's the opportunity is for anybody out there, man. The opportunity is for whoever wants to work the hardest. Some people are gonna have advantages, and race might play a part. You might know somebody in a sorority who might know somebody else in another sorority that can hook you up with one of those, you know, 6-figure salary jobs at the age of 21. That puts you ahead. But at the same time, I know some black folk that got, you know what I'm saying, looked out for in fraternities, you know what I mean? They got looked out for and got put ahead. So it kind of goes both ways, man. At the end of the day, we're in a day and age where we have to let go. We have to like move forward, bro. We have to move forward, recognize the internet. Everybody's working remote, tech jobs, coding. Anybody can learn these jobs. Anybody can learn. Anybody can make 6 figures. Anybody can. And they're not going to deny you at your local college to teach you this stuff because of your skin color. There is no advantages there. And there are certain other things that, you know, depending on where you were born and the, you know, what district you're in, you know, how wealthy is that city, how wealthy is that town, which can play a part in it too. And it's all finances, but at the end of the day, man, that cannot be an excuse, man. That cannot be an excuse. You have to find a way. You have to find a way. And when you think there is no way, there's absolutely a way to get out of any situation. Look at like people crossing the border, come from, you know, treacherous backgrounds, death, drugs, drug dealers, you know what I'm saying, huge scandals. I mean, alcoholism, I mean, everything. They come from these crazy backgrounds flooding into the United States. And the moment they get here, they're successful. They're successful. They left all that behind them and they pushed forward and now they are successful, man. So I'm gonna get off my soapbox real quick. If you guys like this content, want to hear more about some debates, let me know down below. Make sure you guys click, like, subscribe to this content, man. And until next time, y'all be easy out there. Peace.